Welcome to our annual college prep seminar. I'm Roshelle Jones, psychology instructor.
I'm Crystal Edwards, student wellness and accessibility manager.
I'm Kendra Mazone, Aiken Technical College student, medical assistant.
And I'm Steven Jefferson, a former Aiken Technical College student.
Okay, awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. Of course, we love having a student and former student panel, so we're definitely excited about that. But just getting into some of the conversation or some of the topic that we're going to talk about, some of the things we're going to talk about within the topic. Things in life happen, right? Things happen in life, right? Some things happen that could affect our emotional or our mental well-being. Emotional could mean that it's going to affect how we feel, mentally, how we think. Our well-being is basically how satisfied we are in life. If we feel comfortable, if we're happy, if we basically have a good attitude about what's going on in our life, that's our well-being. And we typically like for our well-being to be healthy. Now, the key is, how do we deal with things or people, because sometimes people can disturb the well-being too. How do we deal with things and or people that may interfere with us having a healthy well-being? Okay, Crystal, did you want to add something to that?
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of how do we deal with people? One, I want to say when we are not healthy, it's a very famous saying, I don't know where it originated from, but hurt people hurt people. So if we are distressed, then a lot of times we can bring distress to other people's lives. So the way I like to look at it in my life is, okay, where are those points in my life that are not in place or in balance, that are very much distressed? And how can I make those points in my life more healthy, so that when I connect with people, because we need that connectivity, when I connect with people, then I want to be able to bring them the most best version and the most healthy version of me. So a lot of times I have to look introspectively and say, okay, where am I emotionally? And in that point, and where is it where I need to change, or where is it where I need to probably disconnect from certain things or certain people to make my life much more healthy?
Right, and I agree with that. Again, like you said, of course, we have to look at ourselves first and realize, it's something I'm doing, it's something I'm allowing somebody to do to me. What's going on that may be disturbing my well-being. So of course, those are great points. Now, for this year, the focus is on you. Not taken away from academic success, not taken away from obtaining financial resources to be successful in college. Those are still extremely important, extremely important. But I really wanted this year's focus to be you. Whether it's just things that I've observed or seen or been exposed to. A lot of people were just hurting. A lot of people just had a lot going on. A lot of people were just like, I just don't know what to do. I just feel like my life is just not balanced. So I was just really concerned about just the person. And so this year I really want to focus on you. So that's our topic. How are you? Of course, focusing on our emotional, of course, mental, and of course, our well-being. So as always, like I said before, we're very excited to have a student and a former student panel. And to start, I really wanted to focus on the positive, because we can talk about negativity and struggles all day long. We could talk about that probably all week long, but I really wanted to focus on the positive. So I wanted the panel to share with us and to share with you all, how are you when your well-being is healthy, when you're happy, and when you're satisfied? And we'll start with you, Kendra.
Well, first things first, when I get up in the morning, okay, you want to start off your day great. You don't want to start off in a bad mood, wrong side of the bed. And you just don't want to have a bad attitude, bad energy towards, others during your day. And in the mornings for me, I wake up, I get up, pray, and I say positive things. I'm going to have a good day. I'm not going to say I'm going to have a bad day, or I'm going to have, an okay day. I'm going to say every morning I'm going to have a good day, no matter how that day goes. Because if you don't have a, good mindset for that day, your day might go okay, it might go bad because you did not set yourself to have that mindset. So every day I tell myself I'm gonna have a good day regardless.
Awesome. Okay. All right, Steven.
Well, so I say, how are you said how are you when everything is well?
Yeah, exactly. When you feel like you're satisfied, you have a good, healthy well-being.
When you feel like you're satisfied and you have a good, healthy well-being, nothing or no one can knock you off your square. And so I believe that, if there's no enemy within, the enemy on the outside cannot harm you. So if you set every day, like Kendra said, if you set every day with expectations, not only for yourself, but expectations for the day, everything, whether things go as planned or not, you can just do checks and balances. The things that didn't go well that day, that doesn't mean that they won't go well tomorrow. So either run the day or the day runs you. That's how I believe.
Okay. And also too, of course, even for me, even when I think about, when I'm feeling my best, when I feel like I have a good, healthy well-being, for me, growth and balance comes to mind. And of course, I love what you all said too on the panel with Kendra, with those positive affirmations. It's good to kind of give yourself that, in the morning, that just as a reminder, because sometimes people may need that. You have so much business is going on, you may need to remind yourself today is going to be a good day. Kind of put that positive affirmation out there. And also,
Yes,
like
Lord.
what Stephen was saying too, of course, if you have that healthy well-being and if you really believe in that, nothing should be able to disturb it. Of course, and I mean that's very important too. For me, like I was saying a few minutes ago, growth and balance really comes to mind. When I think about who I am now and where I am now compared to years ago, I'm like, thank goodness for growth, because of course I know that, it's a lot of things that I can't control, a lot of things I can't change, especially if it's dealing with somebody else disturbing my well-being or something else disturbing my well-being. Maybe that's something that needs to be changed elsewhere. And I have to be able to accept the fact that I know I can't change everything and definitely everybody. So I have to be responsible for things that I choose to do. And of course, that balance for me, I feel like when my life seems to be balanced, when it seems to be balanced, it goes smoother for me. Even if there are some bumps in the road along the way, that balance just makes me feel like, okay, good. That was done. I can check that off. That was done. I can check that off. And I don't feel overwhelmed because I feel like I have that balance to do everything that I need to do within that time frame. Again, like I said before, not being overwhelmed. And like I said, I usually have peace within me when I know that whatever, is going to happen for me that day, and when it happens and I'm satisfied with it, I'm okay with it, that's good for me. I don't want to try to make it out of something that it shouldn't be or something that it wasn't. I just have to accept the things and accept it for what it really was. And also I have to realize that I'm responsible for what I choose to do. So let's just say, for instance, if I'm really talking about my well-being being disturbed, or if I'm overwhelmed, maybe I chose to do too much. Maybe I put too much on my plate. Maybe I decided, okay, I'm going to try to do 20 things today when I need to be doing 10. So I have to be responsible for the things that I choose to do. And for me to have that healthy well-being, that may mean, reorganizing, prioritizing things in my life where I can continue to feel satisfied and not really overwhelmed. Okay, Crystal?
Yeah. Time has been in the past, because when you're a single mom and you're working and you're trying to get through college and, just trying to become like a professional, but you still got to like balance home and work and school and all of that. Like it could get overwhelming, like you said. But I think the older I get and the more I realize the things that matter to me, I put those things in, I put more time towards those things. So I'm learning how to utilize the time that God has given me. I mean, I have 168 hours in a week. I think I can do what I need to do, without getting overwhelmed. But see, I didn't realize that, when I was just like a working mom, but now my daughter's older. And I can really like spend some time looking at me. And so I use that time now, like you said, to not overwhelm myself. And sometimes I do get out of balance, but I'm most healthy when I'm using that time wisely. I'm setting my goals for that week, and I'm constantly checking those goals to make sure that I'm progressing. And if I'm not, like you said, how do I reorganize my life to ensure that those things that matter are implemented in my time, and that I'm fulfilling the goals that I have set for that week or that month or that year. So that's the most when I'm feeling like I'm on top of it, is I'm utilizing the time to feed myself holistically. That to me, that's spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, academically. I'm serving my whole self, but I'm doing it in the amount of time that God has given me, and I'm not overwhelming myself with things that really don't matter.
That's right.
So that's kind of like how I've kind of kept myself. Now I get out of balance sometimes, but
Yes.
like, okay, let me recalibrate and
Get
say,
back on
okay,
track.
what are the things that matter? And looking at my time to make sure I put in those things that matter.
Right. And again, and another, I just thought about this too. Use it with me and my daughter. Like if something happens, we'll say, is it a 0 or a 10? 0 means almost nothing. 10 means like 911. It's like an emergency. So, and we do it all the time. So if something happens, I say, Camille, is that a 0 or a 10? It's a 3, mommy. So of course, so we know we're not going to make a big deal out of it. Or even if it's with me, I say, okay, well, that was just like a 2 or 3. So it's not a big deal. So I shouldn't let this small thing cause all this, disturbance, with my peace and my well-being. So a lot of times, and again, like I said, I'm thankful for growth in that sense. Whereas years ago, I may have allowed something small, like a 2 or 3, cause it to be like a 10 when it really isn't. So again, like I said, I'm just thankful for that growth and that balance, when it's good, Okay, so now we're going to get to, of course, want the panel, of course, and we will also share, if possible, how do you cope or deal with struggles? And Kendra, we'll start with you.
With coping with your struggles, it could be work, it could be school, it could be anything, family issues, anything of that nature. When you have those struggles and you constantly remind yourself you got to get out of bed every day, or you got to get up. If you have children, you have to get up, get your kids ready, or get your child ready for school, get yourself ready, but you cannot get up because you're struggling getting up because you're fighting, your depression, or you fighting
Wow.
just getting up in general. You don't want to move just because you don't want to deal with that struggle. Or if you having a problem with somebody at your job and you don't want to deal with that struggle, if they're dealing with them not doing their job and you doing your job plus 10 other people's job, it's not gonna work. So you have to kind of map out, okay, yeah, I gotta beat this. I gotta beat this whole entire thing. Because if I don't, I'm gonna let my struggles get the best of me, and the devil can't win. He can't. So, the devil can't win it all. So you gotta toughen it out. So by coping with it, you just gotta, if you have to write it out every day on a piece of paper, I'm gonna face this, or I'm gonna get through this. If that helps you, hey, it will.
All right, good job. Okay, awesome. Steven?
I how I cope with struggles, I just look at struggles as like exactly like what they are. They're really nothing but a test. And test is only things that come to you so you can learn it. So to me, struggles is just something that I need to learn. Why am I encountering this? What do I need to learn from this situation? And so the way that I cope with my struggles is, I show myself love and kindness. I do a self-reflection. I say, this too shall pass. And I take my moment and just analyze that situation, and then just go within and get through it.
Awesome. And I love that too, because even when you were talking, when both of y'all were talking, I was just thinking about something that I usually tell my students and something I just, tell myself a lot of times too. Self-disclosure is therapeutic. For me, when you can talk about something that you're dealing with, or you can actually verbalize it, either it's to yourself or even to someone else, you have no idea how that may be helping you, or it may be helping someone else or other people just by disclosing it. So, and like I said, of course, just having that sort of peace of mind, and knowing that, okay, well, like Stephen was just saying, if this is a struggle, this is going to be a test to see how I do. Am I going to pass it or am I going to fail it? It just depends on how you handle certain things. And even with me, when I think about struggles, and I get, I guess, to ways of coping with it. For me, of course, I can look at a struggle in different ways, but I guess I'll look at me as far as my personality. I'm an introvert. Part of my personality, I'm an introvert. So of course, I'm quiet, shy, and reserved. And I don't like attention. I really don't. I don't like to be in the forefront. I don't like attention. A lot of people don't believe that, but I really don't. I mean, I'm just quiet, shy, and reserved. I don't mind that. I love it. So for me in the past, it used to be a struggle. And I know I can adjust. Of course, now it's easy to adjust now when I have to do it. But in the past, it was just like, oh man, I really got to go and do that. I really have to go and do that. And I just didn't want to do it. I just did not want to do it. So that used to be a struggle. But now I'm just like, Roshelle, adjust is a small word. Just adjust. Mm-hmm. It's just for a small amount of time. Just adjust. My daughter is an extrovert, so I have to adjust a lot. Because for her, she wants to go, 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 go. Mama don't have to go all that time. I mean, I'm just comfortable and fine, just kind of staying in my little place. So for me, that was one thing. And of course, I love to plan and I'm detail oriented. Now with that, that means, of course, following a schedule. That's not going to always work. You knew that today. That's not going to always work. So again, for me to try and avoid having these huge struggles or being overwhelmed, I have to know that things can be adjusted. I can make a change in a plan in reference to how things happen. As far as coping with certain things, as far as struggles in life, I think support is great. Whatever that support is, whether it's connections to other people. I think, Crystal, you mentioned connectivity earlier, where there's connections to other people or loved ones. If that's a real good, healthy support system, use it, value it. If it's not a good, healthy support system, don't use that anymore. You need to try to find something different. So I really believe support is awesome if it's a really good, healthy support system. I love journaling. I love journaling. I know Kendra mentioned this earlier as far as writing certain things down. I love journaling, even if it's just, my thoughts, my feelings, or plans, or certain things I want to do. I just love journaling a lot. So to me, it's like therapy almost. It's very therapeutic, when I can write something down. And if I can just go back and read it, like, oh, is that how I felt that day? Is that what was going on? That's what was going on that particular day. So journaling for me really does help. I also like to try and avoid distractions if at all possible. If I know that something's not going to be good for me or for my environmental well-being, I try to avoid that because I really don't want something to just, I don't want to bring anything in. I can kind of control what I can do most of the time, but I don't want to bring something in that's going to be like a distraction. So I want to try and avoid those things. Like I said earlier, being alone for me is easy. I don't mind sometimes just having that quiet, peaceful, alone time. And I guess being an introvert, that's probably why I like it. And I guess the most important thing for me too is I don't like to compete. I prefer to collaborate. And for me, of course, and even when I think about, like things like we're doing now, oh my goodness, the collaboration is huge. We can collaborate with so many different people just to get a message across. It doesn't just have to be me. And of course, I don't like to be seen anyway. So of course, I love to be able to collaborate with others, just to get a message across. So for me, not competing, but collaboration. I love that. Crystal?
Let's say when I'm confronted with struggles, one, I'm looking at, okay, did I cause the struggle? And I got this, my mom used to say, well, did you cause the struggle? And if you cause the struggle, then okay, where can you look at in your life to see where this does not happen again? And if I didn't cause the struggle, okay, where's the struggle coming from? And then once I see the source where the struggle is coming from, either I can eliminate that source because it could be a thing or a person. I can kind of eliminate that source. Or if it's completely out of my control, not really anything that, not any coming from anyone else, then I'm transferring that over to God. Because there's just some struggles that I just simply cannot handle. I mean, that's just my spiritual being. I just have to transfer it to God.
Right.
But the struggles that I can work through, one, being okay with being hurt. Like, I was the type of person where I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to deal with hurt. If I was hurt, okay, I was hurt. All right, let's move on from that. But I'm learning that the older I get, the more mature I get, that it's okay for me to process hurt. Because when I do that, I don't have to come back to it. That's because right. I've already processed it.
Right.
And so that kind of, like, for me, it's eliminated a lot of struggles because I processed it already. Right. So yeah, a lot of times I'm just like going through the process. Okay, did I cause this struggle? No, I did not. Or yes, I did. Okay, how can I kind of eliminate myself from going through this again? Or how do I just simply work through it? You know, if it's something I cannot avoid or I can't just put aside, how do I work through it? Okay, who can I connect to? We talked about that previously. Who can I connect to that can help me work through this? Because there's safety in counsel, getting with people that I trust, that are healthy for me, like you said, Roshelle, connecting with them, being an open book to them. You know, like you said, writing down things, being very clear and transparent about the way that I feel, not hiding anything. Right. When I'm struggling, that's work for me. Not hiding, right. not saying, no, I'm okay. No, that didn't hurt me. No, that's fine. I'm good. No, actually, right. That really did hurt me. And, right. You know, like, that's been a big thing for me to say that really did set me back. Yeah. How can I work through that so it won't happen again? Or now I know how to cope through it because I simply worked through the struggle.
And you acknowledged it.
Yes.
Instead of you just putting keep putting that hurt on top of hurt on top of hurt on top of hurt, and that struggle on top of struggle.
Wow.
You're closing up that bandage. Like, okay, yeah, let's.
Yes. Wow. And that's so important to even say that, because a lot of times people don't look at it that way, because again, like Krista was saying, it's just, if you're not acknowledging it, it's just adding on. And like Kendra was just saying, you know, where do you go from there? Especially if you don't even know how to even recognize it. If you don't even know how to recognize it and how to deal with it or cope with it or cope from it, it's like, what do you do? What do you do? I mean, like, and sometimes even for people that may be watching, if they don't know what to do, you know, like you said, go to somebody who you trust, who you can connect with, who you already have a good rapport with, and talk to them about it. You know, just be comfortable enough to share it with a good, healthy, trusting environment or a source. And that way, hopefully they can give you some pointers or some feedback as to things that may help. And it may be something so simple. But a lot of times when you feel like you got so many struggles, when you're overwhelmed, it's like, I don't even know what to do. You know, that's how some people may feel. So wow, that was a great point. Great point.
Yep. And then you might come across one person, you going through 10 different things, and one person come across you and say, you know, I don't know what you're going through, but I hope you can fight through it. That one person might not know what's going on. Mm-hmm. They might just walk up to you and say, I don't know what you're going through, but I hope everything is all right. And that might make you feel 110% better.
Yes. I mean, that could already put you in a whole different perspective right there. Like, oh my goodness. So that made me aware. That made me more aware of things that I need to be doing, of course. And that's right. It's not the end of the world. And I want it to be better. Awesome. Okay. Well, closing thoughts. I know we can go on and on about this, right? So closing thoughts. I want to open it up to the panel. We'll start, of course, with Kendra first, Steven, and of course, then me and Crystal. Any closing thoughts? Anything that you want to share to the virtual world in reference?
Today might have helped out 10 different people. You never know. So it might have. That's my closing thought. What I said today, what Ms. Chris said today, what you said today, what Steven said today, it could have helped out so many people because they don't open up to say anything, or they might not talk to certain people because they don't want to open up about the situation. So it might have helped them out to give them, confirmation like, okay, I can do this, or, they can get through it.
Okay, awesome. Steven?
I would say my closing thoughts is, it's always okay to tell yourself a different story. If your life is not going the way that you desire it to be, you can always pivot and go in a different way. But first, like I said earlier, go within. Figure out who you are, figure out
Right.
your desires, get yourself in order. And then the next step would be to seek wise counsel, seek what's, if it's a therapist or a counselor or your enrollment advisor at school or whoever, your pastor at church, your auntie, somebody, always talk to somebody. It's okay to talk to yourself, but sometimes you need somebody else.
Right.
Seek help, and then go from there.
And I agree with that, Stephen, because that's why I wanted the focus to be, how are you? And it is great that you mentioned that, Stephen, because Stephen was actually a former student of mine. When was this, back in 2013, 2012, 2013, Stephen? Was it was a while back. And I haven't seen
Yeah, it was a while
Stephen,
back.
and he happened to send me an email, and we just reconnected. We started meeting and, just talking about certain things personally that he was dealing with. And I was like, wow, he thought about me. I'm like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen Steven. And of course I remember, he was like, Miss Jones, you remember me? I'm like, yes, I remember you, Steven. But he's an introvert too, so he was always quiet and shy in class. But you was in my class, I'm like an extrovert. People don't believe I'm an introvert, but I am. In class, I'm like an extrovert. But anyway, so it was great, that we were able to kind of connect. But you're right. You have to look within first. Like, who are you? And for me, every year, my purpose for the seminars is to motivate and inspire somebody or people in general. That's always been the purpose. So for me, I'm hoping that something was said today to someone that did just that, motivated or inspired someone to whether succeed or in school, through their careers or through their jobs, or even just personally, or just to be able to just look at themselves if they feel like things are going on and they just want to figure out a way out. So I'm hoping that, if that is a person that's dealing with something, that they're kind of going to be able to look at those things and try and find ways to cope. Crystal?
I think my last thoughts are, I would encourage, especially students, to kind of deal with any childhood trauma.
Yes.
I've noticed, just like working with students, that a lot of times that they're afraid to deal with those childhood traumas, childhood experiences, even in their adulthood. But any type of experience or trauma that you may be experiencing or have dealt with even in the past, then I would say start to unravel that, start to, hit those places that hurt. And that's I've been there, and it could get very, very dark. But once you start digging and digging and digging, and you get to that hurt place, and then you find healing by talking, and you find healing by connecting with people that are healthy for you, you will realize, even in that dark place, that eventually you dug yourself back up to the light. But it's going to take some time to dig down deep and to realize that some of our well-being and our healthiness emotionally is connected to these things that we've not dealt with as children, we've not dealt with as teenagers and young adults. I mean, I had to do that for myself as a teenage mother. I had to go back as an adult and it just hurt. Like, I didn't want to go back to the past. I didn't want to be done with it. But sometimes our past hurt really affects the way we decide today. So just like dealing with those things and allowing that healing, giving yourself time to heal from that so that you can be a more healthier person.
Right. And I agree with that and I'd wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Even for students or people in general, it's a lot of adults now that may be struggling or dealing with issues from childhood that it may even try to suppress, repress, want to just block it out, and then it may resurface, and they're trying to juggle stuff now plus then. So a lot of times, you know, of course, even when you're going through to therapy and saying things of that nature, they really want you to kind of go back to childhood up into the present. You know, because even if you did a lifeline, look at your life from childhood up to now, sometimes you can kind of look at things and may say, wow, this may be why I'm doing this, or why I'm acting like that, because I do believe that our exposure and experience impacts who we become. You know, basically what you've been around and what you do may impact decisions that you make. You know, people that you choose to surround yourself with, whether it's, you know, healthy or not healthy, but, you know, definitely not judging that by any means, but just saying, of course, a lot of times, just going back to that childhood trauma that you talked about, a lot of people are still struggling with that because they never acknowledge it, they never dealt with it, and they never coped with it. So that can definitely be something that people are dealing with as well. So definitely want to send thanks to you all, to the panel, for participating this year. This was awesome. Oh my goodness, we can just go on and on and on with this particular topic. But everything that was shared to me, I think, was just helpful. And like I said, hopefully it will motivate and inspire someone. So we just want to thank you all for watching.